Hi guys, good morning. Today we will discuss adverb clause in this class. We have already discussed noun clause or adjective clause in our previous video, and this is the second video on adverb clause. Now we are going to take adverb clause. How to identify an adverb clause in the sentence? We have already told you we would have to ask only a simple question to the main clause of the sentence, and its answer, if its answer is referring to a time, the manner, condition, then we can say that it is an adverb clause. Here I would like to take some examples. I completed my work. I completed my work. This is sentence of principal clause. I completed my work. In time. Because I wanted to impress my boss. I completed my work in time because I wanted to impress my boss. Because I wanted to impress my boss. This is giving incomplete sense. If I say because I wanted to impress my boss, is this giving complete sense? No. This sentence is not giving complete sense because it is incomplete in itself. Here, it is referring to a type of reason, and its reason has already mentioned in this sentence, because I wanted to impress my boss, so I completed my work in time. So this sentence is referring to an adverb of reason, because here we find a reason. Why did he completed his work on time? Why did he complete his work on time? Because he wanted to impress his boss. This is why he completed his work on time. He was playing football. He was playing football. This is giving a complete sense. The way professionals play. The way professionals play. If I say to anybody, the way professionals play, this is giving entirely incomplete sense, and it would require a sentence of complete thought. So he was playing football the way professionals play. So here we find manner of doing things and manner of action, or manner. Here its manner is referring to a type of adverb in the sentence, so we can say that it is an adverb clause. We would like to take some other examples. I began to study when my father scolded me. I began to study when my father scolded me. Here I began to study, this is given a complete sense, and when my father scolded me, it is incomplete, and it is a clause, subordinate clause. Which type of subordinate clause is this? So in order to find out which type of subordinate clause is this, we would ask only a simple question to the main clause of the sentence. And if its answer is supposed to refer a noun or pronoun, then it would be a noun clause. Its answer, if refers to an adverb or a relative clause, then it would be an adverb clause or relative clause. If its answer is referring to an adverb clause, then it is an adverb clause. So this is the simplest way of identifying a clause in the sentence. So I began to study when my father scolded me. So here it is referring to an adverb of time. when did he started? When did he start his study? When did he start his study? When his father scolded him. So here the clause is referring to an adverb of time. This is why it is an adverb clause. In the next sentence, I reached. I reached. This is a sentence of principal clause. I reached. Where no one couldn't even dare to go. Where no one wouldn't care to go. Dare to go. This sentence is referring to an adverb of place. This is why it is an adverb clause. You may sit. You may sit wherever you want. This is also referring to an adverb of place. This is why this is an adverb clause. So finally we have found that in case of clauses, we would like to ask only simple question to the main clause of the sentence. Is this referring to a noun or pronoun? Is this referring to an adjective or a relative clause? Is this referring to an adverb clause? So this is the basic pattern to where we can identify a clause in the sentence. Which type of clause is being represented before us. Through this pattern, we can identify a clause in the sentence. In case of clauses, when we talk about complex sentences, in case of complex sentences, clauses are supposed to be used. But in case of simple sentence, in case of compound sentence, there is no such condition. If we talk about simple sentences, in simple sentence there is a single sentence which is supposed to give its own meaning in complete form. But in case of compound sentence too, there are two sentences of principal clauses which are supposed to be connected with the use of subordinating clause. Coordinating clause. But in case of complex sentences, there must be a sentence of principal clause. There may be more than two sentences of subordinate clause. It is not necessary. Either there may be one sentence or there may be two sentences. It is not compulsory in case of subordinate clause. There can be more than one sentence of subordinate clause. And these subordinate clauses have been divided into three categories. First is the category of noun clause, second is the category of adverb clause, and third one is the category of adjective clause or relative clause in English grammar. So when we talk about the types of sentences in English grammar, I want to justify and I want to take some facts here. If we talk about types of sentences in English grammar, in English grammar there are only three types of sentences. First is the sentence simple sentence. Other one is compound sentence, and last one is complex sentence. And what are the basic difference among these types of sentences? I would like to clarify here. First of all, in case of simple sentence, there is a subject and there is subject and its object. The presence of object is not necessary here. A subject and a verb can create a sentence. We wouldn't require an object here. There may be an object and there cannot be an object. And in case of object, if we talk about objects in English grammar, there are two types of objects: primary object and secondary object. If we are going to include or we are going to put primary object, we are going to give primary object to the verb, then we wouldn't require preposition to connect primary object with secondary object, because we have already the verb, if the verb is taking its primary object, there would be no need of a preposition to connect both the objects in a sentence. But in case of secondary object, if a verb is supposed to take its secondary object, then we would require a preposition in order to connect both the objects in the sentence. For example, if I say, he gave me a pen. He gave me a pen. Here, me is a primary object of gave, and pen is the secondary object of pen. So, if the verb is supposed to take its primary object, there would be no need of preposition there. But if verb is going to take its secondary object at the very first, then we would require a preposition just in order to connect the primary object with the secondary object. As in case of, he gave a pen. Now here we would require a preposition in order to connect the primary object with the secondary object. Now first object is me, is objective pronoun, other object is pen, and we have already told you objects can be only a noun or a pronoun in the sentence. Except noun or pronoun, nothing can become an object in the sentence. So me, which is working as the objective pronoun in the sentence, is the primary object, and a pen is a secondary object which is working as a noun in the sentence. And verb gave is a verb in the sentence, and if it is going to take its primary object in the sentence, there would be no use of preposition here. But if the verb is going to take its secondary object, then we would require a preposition to connect the primary object with the secondary object in the sentence. So we can say that in case of simple sentence, there is only a subject and a verb. Subject and verb are supposed to create the meaning of a simple sentence. There may be an object and there cannot be object. It is not necessary. So we can say that the presence of an object to a verb is not necessary in case of simple sentence. There may be an object or there cannot be object. There may be more than one object in the sentence. So we can categorize both of them in case of primary object and secondary object. If we talk about compound sentence, in case of compound sentence, there are only two sentences of principal clause. Two sentences of principal clauses are supposed to create a sentence of compound sentence. Only two sentences of principal clause can make a compound sentence in English grammar. But here, both the sentences are supposed to be connected with each other through the use of a coordinating conjunction. It is only coordinating conjunction which is working as a correlator. So we can say that through the use of coordinate conjunction, two sentences are supposed to be connected with each other. So we can say that this sentence is a compound sentence. And after coordinating conjunction, before coordinating conjunction, we would have to use a comma. So, but in case of subordinate conjunction, we wouldn't require any type of comma to use there. But if subordinating conjunctions is going to fall at the very beginning of the sentence, then we would require a use of comma between the principal clause and the subordinate clause. But if our sentence is going to start with principal clause, then we would never require the use of comma between the principal clause and the subordinate clause in the sentence. So we can say that if we are going to connect a sentence of principal clause with the sentence of subordinate clause, we would have to use a subordinate conjunction there. And after the subordinating conjunction, after the use of subordinating conjunction, the sentence can be a noun clause or a relative clause or an adverb clause. Now we want to conclude the whole. In case of complex sentence, the use of clauses is necessary in case of only complex sentences. But in case of compound sentence, in case of simple sentence, in case of simple sentence or in case of compound sentence, we wouldn't require any type of clause to use there. But in case of complex sentence, we would require clauses. And these three types of clauses, noun clause, adjective clause, adverb clause, these three types of clauses are supposed to use only in case of complex sentences. I would like to repeat, in case of complex sentences, we can use clauses, but in case of compound sentence or in case of compound sentence and in case of simple sentence, we can never use clauses. If we are going to use a clause in case of compound sentence or in case of simple sentence, our sentence would be wrong. So we can use clauses only in case of complex sentences. So the structure of complex sentence. Now we are going to focus on the structure of complex sentences. In case of complex sentence, there is a sentence of principal clause. And the sentence of principal clause means the sentence which is supposed to have a subject and a verb. The presence of object is not necessary here. There may be an object and there cannot be an object. But the presence of subject and a verb is necessary. In the lack of subject and a verb, a sentence cannot be made. A sentence can be made only with the help of a subject and a verb. So we can say that subject and verb, the presence of subject and a verb can make a sentence. No matter there is an object or not. There may be an object or there may be more than one object in the sentence. If there are going to be more than one object, then we can associate primary object with the secondary object through the use of preposition there. But if the verb is going to take its primary object at the very beginning of the sentence, then we cannot put a preposition to connect the primary object with the secondary object in the sentence. Next, in case of clauses, a clause cannot give its complete meaning because it is dependent. A clause would always require a sentence which is giving a complete sense, a sentence of principal clause. A sentence of principal clause is necessary for the use of a clause in the sentence. In the lack of principal clause, a clause cannot exist alone. And we have already told you about the clauses. There are two types of clauses, principal clause and subordinate clause. And the subordinate clause have been divided among three parts. There are three parts of subordinate clause: noun clause, adjective clause, and verb clause. And principal clause is alone because it is giving its complete sense and it is a sentence. It is a simple sentence. So, if a simple sentence and a clause, if a simple sentence and a clause are going to be connected with each other, then we can say that it is a sentence of complex. So, we can say that in case of complex sentence, there must be a sentence of principal clause and there may be more than one sentence of subordinate clause. And the subordinate clause either it may be a noun clause, or it may be an adjective clause, or it may be an adverb clause. So this is the basic difference between a simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentence. And in case of complex sentence, we can use clauses. If the clauses is supposed to refer to a noun or a pronoun, then we can say that it is a noun clause. If the clause is referring to a type of relation, then we can say that, or if it is referring to any type of, or it is demanding any type of elaboration or identification from a noun used just before the clause, then we can say that it is an adjective clause or relative clause. If the clause is supposed to refer to an adverb of time, place, manner, action, then we can say that it is a sentence, it is a clause of, it is an adverb clause. This is an adverb clause in the sentence. So this is the basic difference among these three types of clauses. So guys, here I would like to end the class now. We would meet in our next class. Thank you.